Have you ever been in a meeting where someone throws around the name ServiceNow and you just kind of nod along, secretly praying nobody asks you to explain what it is? Yeah, don't worry, you are definitely not alone. It's one of those huge platforms that tons of companies use, but what it actually does can feel a little mysterious. So let's pull back the curtain and demystify ServiceNow once and for all.
All right, so let's just get right to it. The big question. What on earth is ServiceNow? At first, you might think it's just a ticketing tool or some other super complex piece of software for big companies. But it's actually a whole lot more than that. And to really get it, we kind of have to reset our brains a little.
I love this quote from an expert ServiceNow trainer because it absolutely hits the nail on the head. The best way to understand this platform is to just clear the slate. Forget what you think it is. It's not just one thing. It's really a whole new way of thinking about how work gets done inside an organization.
So the very first thing you got to unlearn is this. ServiceNow is not a piece of software you install on your computer like Microsoft Office. You don't download it. Nope. Instead, think of it like Gmail or Facebook. It's a cloud platform. You just open a web browser, log in, and you're in. This means you can get to it from anywhere on pretty much any device.
Okay, so here's the core of it. ServiceNow is all about managing and automating what they call digital workflows. Just think about all the messy, complicated processes that happen in a big company, right? Onboarding a new hire, fixing a broken server, it can be chaotic. ServiceNow takes that chaos and turns it into a clean, structured series of tasks that flow from one person to the next, smooth as silk.
To really see how this all comes together, we need to talk about the people who are actually using the platform. It really boils down to three main roles. And you know what? Each one has a completely different experience with it.
First up, you've got the end user. This is basically everybody else in the company, the customer, asking for help. They're the ones saying, hey, my laptop is broken. Then you have the fulfiller. This is your service provider, like the IT support team. They're the ones who grab that ticket and actually do the work to fix the problem. And finally, you have the admin or developer. These folks are the architects, the wizards behind the curtain, who set up the whole system so the end users and fulfillers can work together without a hitch.
Okay, enough with the theory. Let's make this feel real. Honestly, the best way to understand the power of ServiceNow is to just walk through a classic, everyday scenario, a good old-fashioned IT incident.
So when an issue pops up, ServiceNow doesn't just dump it into some messy email inbox. No way. It guides the fulfiller through a really structured four-step process to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. You log it, you classify it, you prioritize it, and you assign it. This structure is what turns chaos into order.
Step 1. Log the ticket. So, picture this. An employee named Able Tutor calls the help desk. The fulfiller on the other end creates a new ticket and captures the absolute basics. Who has the problem? Able. And what is the problem? His laptop won't work. Simple, clear, and now it's officially documented. Next up, step 2. Classify the issue. Now this is absolutely critical. The fulfiller doesn't just write broken laptop. They select a category, in this case, hardware, and a subcategory, laptop. This isn't just for filing away later. That simple act of classification instantly tells the system which expert team needs to handle this, making sure the ticket goes to the right people from the get-go. And now we get to step 3, prioritize. ServiceNow uses two really simple but incredibly powerful ideas to figure out how important a ticket is. First is impact. How many people are being affected by this? And second is urgency. How quickly does this really need to be fixed for the business to keep running smoothly?
And here is the really clever part. The fulfiller doesn't have to just guess the priority level. Nope, they just set the impact and the urgency, and the platform's logic automatically calculates the rest. This takes all the guesswork and human bias out of the equation and makes sure everything is handled fairly.
And boom, this is where you see the magic. If Abel's laptop has a high impact, maybe he's the CFO about to give a presentation, and it has high urgency, because that presentation is in an hour, the system automatically calculates the priority as 1 critical. The most important work always bubbles up to the top.
And finally, we have step 4, assign for resolution. Now that the ticket is logged, classified, and prioritized, it's officially routed to the right assignment group, our hardware experts. It can even be assigned to a specific person on that team who now owns it and can start working on the fix.
So that's the experience for the end user and the fulfiller. But remember that third role? The admin? Well, their job is to take this incredibly powerful, structured platform and make it feel like it was custom built just for their company.
This is way more than just making things look pretty.
Admins can change the logo, the colors, the fonts, everything to match the company's brand. They can even add or remove fields on a form to make sure they're capturing exactly the right info. The goal here is something called white labeling, making ServiceNow look and feel so much like an internal company tool that employees don't even realize they're using an outside platform. And that is huge for getting people to actually use it, because it feels familiar and trustworthy.
Okay, so we've seen a ticket flow from start to finish, and we've seen how you can customize the look and feel. But let's zoom out. Why is all this structure so important? What is the big idea that drives this whole thing?
It all comes down to this one big concept called ITSM, which stands for IT Service Management. Now, this isn't a ServiceNow engine invention. It's a huge industry framework. It's all about treating everything that IT does, from fixing a laptop to managing a server, as a professional service that has to be designed, delivered, and constantly improved. ServiceNow was basically built from the ground up to be the ultimate ITSM machine.
And to really get its power, you've got to know these three core processes. Incident management is exactly what we just saw, reacting to and fixing things that are broken right now. But problem management is a step deeper. If, say, 50 people report the same laptop issue, problem management is about finding the root cause, like a bad software update, so you can stop it from happening ever again. And then there's change management, which is all about planned work, giving you a structured way to manage big changes, like installing a new server, to minimize any risks.
And that right there, that's the real light bulb moment. If you can bring this incredible level of structure, automation, and clear ownership to something as complex as IT, well, what's stopping you from doing the exact same thing in other parts of the business? Think about human resources or customer service or even facilities. The principles are identical, and that is exactly where ServiceNow has evolved, from just an IT tool to a platform that can transform workflows across the entire enterprise.